Good afternoon, Facebook community. Thanks for tuning in. I'm here with Mark Melsness, the designated broker at Spinnaker Property Management. Hello, Mark. How are you?
I'm well, and you?
I am well. So we're doing this COVID-19 friendly go live today because both of us, you're secure in your office and I'm in my home office. So
Yep.
we don't have to be face-to-face to go live, which is great. And we just wanted to talk, just keep a tab on what's going on with COVID-19. I know I talked to you a couple weeks ago, but I wanted to check in with you again to see how your business is going and kind of, we've talked about your survival strategies or your thriving strategies of communication with your residents and your owners. I know that's a strength of your business anyway. But you've had some surprises. You've had some surprise, I don't know, surprise success, would you say? Or tell me what's going
Absolutely.
on. Yeah.
Well, the market is as strong as it could have ever been before COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
We're having, again, really low notices where people are living in their home and giving notices to move. And as you can imagine, we're not giving notices to people as they live in the homes now, as the governor's proclamation. And I think that also has had an impact on our renters normally who would be moving may just renew or continue on with the month to month. In addition to that, we've had a really strong interest in new owner clients hiring us to manage their properties. So as we bring on new inventory, we have a strong demand for that supply, and we're leasing them fairly quickly at market rents.
So when you say bringing on new inventory, so you have new owner clients who have units for you to rent out, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
How are those owners finding you?
Through referrals, a lot through real estate agents. That's our number one referral base. And we've been working really hard with this really super awesome to really create a real strong internet marketing presence.
Virtual presence, and also Greenhaven Interactive as well, I know has been helping you.
Yes.
We work together with Dave. So you have a source of organic leads through the search engines and also just a strong website and social media presence, which I think all just contributes to people knowing you're out there for sure. And then your website Dave did a great job on the organizing of the information on your website. So,
thanks, Dave.
Yeah, that for sure. So you said before we got on the call here, as I'm looking at my notes, you talked about low notices. What are the three things you talk about? Delinquencies, notices, and
leasing,
the occupancy rate.
Yeah, so we're continuing to have a strong occupancy rate, and we're still experiencing a very high delinquency.
Delinquency.
Rents that are not paid. Yeah, so and we're working with all of them directly at whatever level works best for them to set up payment plans and ensure that they can focus on the other things in life besides worrying about their housing.
So. Right, like going to work every day and taking care of their kids when both parents are working at home and all those stressors that are on people right now. So I know I've asked you this before, but what is your secret sauce during COVID-19? What do you think has been the way that you've done well? And I mean, I certainly haven't talked to you when you're not someone who will freak out in crisis anyway, but I haven't talked to you when you've given me horrible bad news. So what do you think that secret sauce is at Spinnaker?
Well, it's the number one is the culture. You know, I look for and invite people to be on the team who have an owner mentality, who they have a life outside of Spinnaker, because I'm more interested in that for them. And they're not here just to clock in and clock out. So they really take on their job description and their duties and more, which gives our owner, our renter, and our vendor contractor relationship clients a real sense of peace of mind, which is what we're all about. And when we create that space and we're in the realm of like, how do we bring solution to this challenge, then solution shows up.
Yeah, and focusing on solving the problem, not the people or the personalities, the principles of how you solve problems, right? So, and there is that mentality, and I've worked with several of your employees, and I do feel like they all, no matter what their role is, I mean, they have limitations in their role. They don't all do the same thing, but they definitely own the problem in an equal way, and that definitely comes across. So, and I think too, I just think that you as a person and you model for your team just exceptional communication skills and that problem solving skill that you have. And I think that if people feel that you're looking at a problem instead of a personality or attacking a person, I think that that puts people at ease. And I think you're good at that. And I think your people are good at that because they watch you do
Thank
that.
you.
So yeah, compliments to you for sure. So I wanted to take a few minutes today to talk about some of the give back things you're doing in the community. Not because I pressured you, but because this is just what you were doing before I met you, right? So I know you work with Landlord Liaison Program, which is a Pierce County-based helping
Yes.
organization. And then you also work with Housing Connector, which is a similar organization in King County. Can you just explain what those two organizations do? I know they're both regional. I know Landlord Liaison Program is specifically Pierce. Is Housing Connector specifically King? Is that kind of how
Yes.
that is? Okay.
Well,
What do they do?
mostly King, but they're just starting to branch out. We actually are working with them in the Pierce County, and I know they do Snohomish.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. So what is
They're
it?
focused in King.
Yeah. So I understand what they do, but how would you explain? Well, let's do two things. Explain what they do to an owner and explain what they do to a resident or potential resident. So if I'm an owner and I want to know what these assistive programs, these housing assistive programs are, what are those two programs?
Yeah, well, they're very closely related in why they're in existence. And it's really can't even separate the owner from the renter in the conversation because both are required in order for the program to be successful. So they are the buffer between the landlord and the renter and the renter's caseworker, because the clients that they have as renters are usually coming in from some significant challenges in the world, like they're newly reemployed, they have been homeless, they may have some convictions, they may have some rental concerns like evictions or owe some money. So they're really kind of in the world where the normal conventional landlord management company wouldn't rent to. So they create and the relationship with the renter and understand their background so they can fully disclose that to us, the management company, the landlord. So when they come to look at our homes, we already know what those challenges are and can approve them. Or if that's all that shows up, then we can approve them. So we're actually minimizing our criteria, we're relaxing our criteria, which creates risk. So then the program, Landlord Liaison Program or the Housing Connector, what they do is they minimize the risk back to the acceptable level by guaranteeing the rent, the deposits, all up front, and 3 months of unpaid rent or $5,000 worth of unpaid rent and damages at move out. So it really has a significant financial backing to the potential risk of damages or non-payment or skipping or eviction.
So Landlord Liaison Program is Pierce County based, and they work with agencies that help homeless people and people that are struggling get into homes. So I think of it as they help landlords help more people. I think that landlords fall into a role that they're not always trained for, which is that of a social worker. And I know because
10,000 other hats, right?
And they also have a large volume of people that they're managing and helping, and so it's just can be a crazy, fun but very crazy, lots of responsibility job. And so Landlord Liaison Program in Pierce County and Housing Connector in King, some expansion there, they just kind of come alongside landlords, I think, and take a lot of that pressure off of your plate. And it sounds like from what you explained, I've heard it called mitigation funds, that they supply mitigation funds, so they help you mitigate the risk of renting to someone who may not have the best rental history or maybe brand new in a job, and enable you to take that risk with some more security financially, so that if they end up not paying rent or they end up trashing the apartment, which hopefully they don't do that and it doesn't happen often, but if it does, you have that backing of that up to $5,000 or 3 months of rent to spend on that damage. So,
and that's only through their program. In addition to that, we have the state's mitigation fund. So that is in addition to it. So there, I mean, it really does create a financial safety net. Now, it doesn't, disappear all the challenges that can come with it. And the other thing that they create is they're the buffer that represents the landlord when there's a dispute with the tenant. So that just like in the real estate sales side, single family homes, you have a buyer's agent and a seller's agent, and the two agents deal for each other's client, so that it's never the buyer connecting seller. Same here, the landlord in some cases and with the renter creates more friction. If we remove them too and have landlord liaison or the connector with the caseworker, then we can really move with velocity through the challenge and get it resolved and get back into the relationship.
So they use their communication skills
Yep.
and their experience working with people in all different circumstances to communicate, like they're kind of a go-between the landlord and the resident.
Yeah.
To resolve conflicts or late rent or whatever might be going on.
Exactly.
And so I've never heard of the Washington State Fund until today. So would you have access to that fund regardless of work? If you weren't working with LLP or the connector, would you still have access to Washington State mitigation funds, or is that?
You would, as long as the occupant has received some sort of state, city, or federal assistance with their either moving costs or while living their costs.
Okay, so if they're on other programs already, they probably have access to some funds. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. There's some caveats to make sure that all that, and being that I work with the state and with the county and with the assistance programs, we're very vassal to navigate through that system to get reimbursement quickly.
Okay, so you feel pretty confident then, and you've got 5 or 6 units that you're working with either one of these organizations on, is that right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. And you probably hope to do that.
And dozens in the past. Yeah. And we will continue to, yeah.
Right, and so if I'm an owner and I'm kind of wondering how that works, you could probably serve as a resource to explain how it is you work with them. Yeah, because I know that people don't realize those programs exist, and that they just really are. I've heard that it's not always the simplest way to plug in. It takes a while to kind of build a relationship, but once you have a relationship built and you're plugged into the programs, that it's pretty smooth in how they assist you. So
it is. It's a great program, and there is one additional value that landlord liaison in Pierce County has, and that is the renter's readiness certification course. So
that's right. Yes, renter's readiness course, which I know you're involved in teaching.
Yes. Yeah. So I lead the landlord resident rights and responsibility 3-hour course that trains not just the renters, but in addition landlords as we invite them. So to come and find out about the laws, particularly in Pierce, Tacoma, city of Tacoma, so that they can have an understanding, not only with the program, but also with the laws that are within the city and within the county.
Yeah, so it's complicated, right? I mean, it's a little crazy how complicated it is sometimes, especially if you're.
It's getting more complicated here in about 2.5 weeks. Yeah.
So we got a couple more minutes. So are you talking about COVID-19 changes and things going on?
Well, no, that would be in addition to and compounding of that last session. The legislature passed laws that some of them went into effect and more are going into effect here in June. So now, does COVID have an impact additionally to those? I don't think so. And it's really going to up the ante, not any harder to manage property, and just be aware that those are the laws that we need to, work through and navigate and make sure that we're abiding to when it comes to providing housing.
Yeah, so before COVID-19 even hit, we provide legislative updates to the owner group that you serve, and there was a lot going on. There was like 9 or 11 different things you were talking about one time when we went live, and then COVID hit, and things got even more complicated because of the economic stimulus and the Governor Inslee's decisions, and so yeah, it's gotten complicated. So it sounds like your class can include some of those changes and give people a safe place to just ask questions and figure out the process of getting into a home in this kind of new environment we're in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very
Knowledge.
cool. Very cool. Well, I'm glad to hear that you guys are doing well, and it's always good to see you and talk with you, Mark. And again, this is
Yep.
Mark, who's the designated broker and property manager at Spinnaker Property Management in Tacoma. And Mark, if I'm an owner and I'm interested in working with you as an owner, or if I want to learn more about one of these assistance programs, would you like an email? Would you like them to call you? How would you like them to reach out?
Well, you can email, you can call, you can text. Voice message and email is the best. You can call my direct number at 253-606-0573, or you can email me at mark@Spinnaker, SPINNAKER Or you
Got
can just
it.
stop by well, you can't stop by the office right now.
Well, so reach out online, and if you're a resident, you can see the
Yeah.
open properties online at spinnakerpm.com. And if you need assistance, it wouldn't be, you can talk to Mark and his team about it, but really you want to dial 211. If you want assistance from LLP or Housing Connector, you want to dial United Way, and they put you in touch with the agencies that Housing Connector and LLP work with. So that's how that works. It wouldn't be contacting Connector or LLP directly, right?
Or me. Yeah.
Or Mark, yeah. I mean, Mark can help direct you back to get that help, but he would not be the supplier of that help. So, well, thanks for the knowledge that you shared today. And just, I think it's good to give the whole perspective of what's going on, and including the assistance program. So always good to see you, and take care. Enjoy the sunshine we're going to be getting here, and we'll talk to you again in a couple weeks.
All right. Be well.
All right. Thanks, Mark.